Yo, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Killjoy Jake YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us today. We have a very fun show ahead. Lots of fun stuff to talk about. It's Monday, start of the week. Some crazy things happening in the world of horror. I just saw a kick-ass movie that I wanted to throw at you guys. Wanted to ask if y'all had seen it or not. I just watched Marshmallow for the first time. I literally just finished it moments ago. And my God, if you have not seen that film, if you have seen that film, let me know down in the chat below because, wow, lots to talk about with that one. Holy crap. Definitely not one you want to have spoiled. Go into it blind. Wow. I'm blown away, but I do have my criticisms. I'll say that. I'm both, I don't want to say I'm in the middle because I definitely like this film. I'd give it a higher rating than maybe most, but I still do have some critiques. Lots to talk about, like just a fruitful movie. Lots of things to pinpoint and discuss, twists and turns that may work for you, that may not. But some really fun news ahead is that we'll be going for another hour if we hit our super chat goal of course, 10 of them, which I couldn't even get it in time before we got our first super chat, but we're going to count that as one. Michael, you're the best, man. Thank you for the $2. Appreciate you a ton. Saying, sup, Jakey, my boy. What is up, Michael? How's it going? Welcome in, dude. Thank you for supporting the page. And you're a member. You kick ass, Michael. Thanks for hanging out with us today, dude. Let me know what your thoughts are on just horror in general. It doesn't have to be about Marshmallow. I'm just excited. I just literally finished it seconds ago before going live, so it's on the brain. But, of course, lots of things happening in the world of horror today. Let me know your thoughts. Throw something out there. We'll definitely get to it. We also got RJ Skarenki. Thanks for being a member, RJ. Saying, hey, Jake, let's talk some horror. Damn right. Damn right, that's what it's all about around here. Monday, it's time to talk horror. Best time to do it, for sure. Picky Piggy is saying, I'm going to see Oh, you already did see Megan 2 today. Did you like it? Let us know. We're curious. We inquiring minds need to know. I'm kind of shocked. I saw the comments for some of my most recent Megan 2.0 videos, and it seems like a lot of people really liked it. It's a little more mixed than I thought. I really thought it was going to be majority of folks not really crazy about this one, but I'm actually kind of happy that some folks dug it. I was a little more like whatever, but I think I'm a little more in the middle ultimately on Megan 2.0. Did I have a fun time watching it? Yeah, I did. I definitely didn't. I wasn't like, oh God, this is atrocious. It's not. I don't think it's a good sequel to Megan, but I still had a fun time watching it. You know, I'll give it that. Give it that much, man. Red Hood Venom 9106 is saying hi. Hi, Red Hood, not Redwood. Red Hood Venom. How are you, my friend? I don't know what your profile picture is, but it looks sick as fuck. It looks like some kind of crazy green symbol. It's really tiny I mean, it's like this small for me, but it looks sick. Kind of stands out because it's like got a sick little background. Love it. IDC, I don't care for you. Damn, brutal. Bring some negativity into the chat. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, my friend? Thank you for being a member. Saying, hey, Jake and folks, theory, what if Gale is the ending kill for Scream 7? And Martha or someone calls Sid and they leave her and you hear the doorbell ring. She answers and they say, hello, Sydney. Looks like you've seen a ghost. Okay, so let me read that again. Hang on. Gale is the end kill. Martha, like Martha Meeks? Are we talking about Randy's sister? Or someone calls Sid and they tell her, okay, so so Gale dies and now Martha's Ghostface. That's insane. That's a wild twist. Martha, they reinvented a lot of characters in this new version of Scream. In Screams 5 and 6. And one of the ones was Martha. She's just a mom now, dude. She's a soccer mom. She's probably driving a Mini Cooper, going around Woodsboro, kind of doing her thing, hoping Ghostface doesn't stab her. I don't know. I guess I don't see her being a Ghostface. But anything, it could be anybody. And I think that's kind of the whole point of these movies, right? So anything could happen, even soccer mom Martha could be the killer. So a few things I do want to throw out there that our mod Erica is throwing out into the chat, which I appreciate you, Erica. Thanks for putting some of those fun things out there. Two big things that I want to talk about. We have this bad boy right here. New shirts out in a new store. Some banging stuff over there. Fourth Wall is fucking fantastic. The last shop we had sucked major balls, but this one rocks. It kicks major ass. This is the main shirt we got. Instead of having Friends I Have Horror Movies, you got a little J on the sleeve, which I think is cool as fuck. And then look at this. Look at that. Whole ass logo on the background. I think this is a pretty good bang for your buck. These are like same prices as something you get at like a Spencer's or something like that, and you got all kinds of decals all over the shirt. It's also like really nice quality, man. That is hanging out at our Fourth Wall store. That is in the description of this video if you want a link, or just go to Fourth Wall, look up Killjoy Jake. I'm sure I come up somewhere, but it is also easy place. Just look in the description of the video if you're curious, if you want to check out the merch store, see what else we got going on. We also have Chicken Man hats, which I still got to get one for Connor, who co-wrote this with me, but I love this. This is a really nice beanie. Not really beanie season, though, so that's why we're not talking about it. We're talking about the t-shirt. The other thing that Eric is throwing out there, though, is please help us subscribe to the gaming channel GullGotha. We are nearly monetized over there, like on the cusp of it. We're at like 930 something. If you guys go and subscribe to that, it'll make my whole summer. We need like less than 70 subs, essentially, to get to 1,000, and that would mean the world to old Jake. So please help us out by hitting that up. Let's get back to the horror now. Erica, thank you for throwing out a bunch of those links. Really does mean a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Paula Fitzhenry is a member. What's up, Paula? How's it going? Saying hi. Hi, hi, hello. How are you? Welcome in, Paula. Cody is enjoying some pepperoni and cold soda on this fine day, by the way. You eating pepperonis, don't judge me, chat. There's nothing wrong with eating pepperonis. Pepperoni pizza bangs, man. My Junkie Jordy is also here. What's up, what's up? How are you, Gina? Welcome in. Thanks for hanging out with us. Jason saying, I'm kind of surprised Megan isn't doing that well at the box office. I think the biggest thing is when you make a sequel to anything and you just swap genres, it's going to be a swing no matter what. This movie is absolutely that, and I don't. It doesn't really seem like it's working for everybody. Seems it's a little more split, which I'm kind of happy about. I'm always rooting for horror films in general, so I'm glad that it's a little more 50-50. But yeah, it seems like some folks it's just really not working for them, which is a shame. But like I said, I'd give it like a 4 out of 10. I thought it was like I had a fun enough time to give it like a decent score. I don't think it was like the story is what I just feel is completely messy. It's very all over the place, a little convoluted, and pretty much just a watered down version of Terminator 2. So I don't know how I feel about that. But the comedy's there. It's funny. It's a funny movie. And the action sequences, sick, even if they are ripping those right from Upgrade from 2018, another Blumhouse movie, which absolutely did all of that stuff first. So, Jason, I am shocked it's not doing well considering how big of an IP this has become since 2023. But you just can't turn a killer doll franchise into an action movie. Unless you got a really good reason to, and I don't know if this one was really convincing for everybody, ultimately. But we do have another Megan movie in the works already that's coming, moving forward, which is crazy. We have what is it called? I already forgot. Soulmate, replace the A with an 8, and that's coming out at the top of next year. Who knows what that's going to be all about? I don't have a lot of faith, though, if I'm being completely honest. I hate judging a book by its cover, but it sounds a lot like Companion that we already got this year. Sounds like exactly the same movie. It's just it's bizarre, I guess. It feels like Megan is almost kind of late to the punch to some of the other robot and AI movies that have already come out. I imagine that movie's going to have a little more of a focus on AI, where Companion doesn't really hit on that. It's more about like gender politics, I feel. So maybe Soulmate kind of hits on like just more of the general AI commentary that the Megan franchise kind of has, in more of an adult way, I guess. That's at least how James Wan has described it, saying that it's more like 90s seductive thrillers, has more of an adult tone to it, where Megan is obviously much more like a kid-centered thing. But we'll see. We'll see what it's all about next January. Again, I'm rooting for it. I hope it's good. Morg Vids is saying, Jake, you look like Richard Harmon. That's a compliment, dude. He's a handsome man, let me tell you. I love Richard Harmon. He's great. Big standout in Final Destination Bloodlines. If you wanted kind of a deep cut, he's great in Grave Encounters 2 is kind of our lead. And I love both of those movies. Both the Grave Encounters I feel are very good. Very solid stuff there. But Richard, if you're watching, you're probably not. But Richard, I love you. And I wish I looked like you even more than I do. Samantha Robinson is saying, hi, Jake. I recently got into this new Netflix series called Animal Kingdom about a family of dealers. What are they dealing? Drugs? Drug? I'm all about that, Samantha. I hear that word and I just go crazy. I'm kidding. No, don't do drugs, kids. It's bad. Austin Darnell is saying, showing my friend Halloween 2018 today. It shall be her first ever slasher. Really? That's shocking. First time you ever seen a slasher movie. That's exciting though. Halloween 2018, I feel, it's a good place, especially because just in terms of modern horror, I feel like it's a very easy to get into film. I would want to, I think most people would want to see the original first, but I think it kind of brings you up to speed really well. Kind of explains who all these characters are, if you have a general understanding of what happens in the original, right? So I'm okay. I like that, Austin. That's very cool. Halloween 2018. It's a good rec, good gateway slasher, I feel. Gory Tiger saying, "What's up? What up, dude? How's it going? Thanks for being here. Love all the spooky emojis. We are coming up on spooky season, ladies and gents. Just a couple of more months, and we are there." Riley Rage is saying, "Hey, yo, Jakey Poo. How's it going, Riley Poo? How's it? Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for hanging." JPR is saying, "I gotta know, Jake, what's your opinion on Predator Killer of Killers? Out of the 4 story arcs, what did you like the best? How do you believe it all will connect to Predator Badlands and the new AVP?" That's a great question, JPR. Dude, when they announced that, okay, we're gonna do this like animated Predator movie, I was like, I'll see it. Cool. That rocks. I like that idea. And I wasn't ready for it to be one of my favorite horror films of the year. Like, it moved very far up my list very quickly. I'm blown away. I mean, I genuinely don't even know how I'd rank the Predator movies at this point after Dan Trachtenberg has just like completely gone nuts with 2 movies that are great already. Badlands looks like it might be even better. Wow. I'm genuinely speechless when it comes to these 2 movies, Prey and Predator Killer of Killers. They're fantastic. Badlands looks like it's even more ambitious, swinging for the fences, maybe even higher than that. And I don't know, I feel like we got a lot of good stuff out here in the Predator universe. I think some of the most anticipated continuations out there is some of the stuff happening in the Predator franchise. It's so creative and so different than what we've gotten, yet still hits on a lot of the things we love about this series. We want to see aliens being fucking badass. We want to see characters being badass. We want to see them fighting aliens. We want to see even the aliens be badass. And Badlands, I'm saying bad a lot, but Badlands seems to be answering that question in a really unique way. Is what does it look like if we're following a predator? I can't wait to find out more about that. But without spoiling anything, because it is pretty fresh, Killer of Killers, I feel like, is ultimately going to lead up to whatever this next Predator project is that Dan Trachtenberg's been talking about. I'm sure it has something to do with AVP because we have had so many teases about it. I mean, even in Badlands, the trailer is clearly utilizing elements from the Alien franchise as well. I think there's going to be an argument after that movie comes out to say that it is kind of an AVP movie. We literally have one of the main characters being a Weyland-Yutani synthetic, which is cool as fuck. And it's only revealed that in a very quick little flash in the trailer where, is it Elle Fanning's character? Is that the actress? Where her eyes roll back in her skull and it has the W logo from Weyland-Yutani, which is cool. So how do I think it's going to connect, though, that ending? Again, without spoiling anything, I definitely think we're going to see those characters again who are still alive and the character that was teased at the end in an Alien versus Predator. I don't think it's going to connect the Badlands necessarily, but I feel like things that happen in Badlands are going to move into whatever this big AVP project is going to be. That's 100% my guess. It's all building from Prey, from Killers of Killers, from Badlands, all moving into this conjoined project from both Fede Alvarez and Dan Trachtenberg coming together, doing some sort of like Avengers style, not Avengers style team up movie, but like the amalgamation, the culmination of all these different films all merging into one place. I imagine our characters from Alien Romulus will be involved somehow, some way. There's a sequel to that film coming out too. And then I'm sure it's all just going to lead up to one big, gigantic new AVP film. And dude, I couldn't be more excited. The shit happening with Predator right now, again, like I said, I think is easily some of the most exciting stuff happening in the space of franchise continuations. It's so creative and so out there. I don't know what to expect from any of these projects. Killer of Killers, like I said, totally blew me away. I wasn't expecting anything from it. I was kind of just thinking, okay, this is just like this is the appetizer to Badlands. And even then, it still blew my mind. I was I don't know. I was railed by that movie. Who else we got hanging out with us? We got Rusted Redemption. I can't read. Sorry. I hate this new thing with YouTube, by the way. It doesn't show your guys' names. It just shows your ats. So I'm so sorry about that. Rusted Redemption 42112. 4212. I seriously can't fucking read. Saying, my guy, my God, I made it on another live. This is fantastic. Thanks for being here, dude. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for talking some horror. Let us know what your favorite upcoming horror flick is. What are you the most excited for? Gorin. So I'm not going to read that whole thing because as you heard with the last name, I'm just going to fucking butcher it. Gorin is saying, "Yo, Jake, what's up? How's it going?" I'm vibing out, man. I'm vibing out, hanging here. Glad to see you here, Gorin, my good friend Gorin. Riley Rage is saying, "What are your top creature features?" Oh my god, I mean, one of my favorites. I'm trying to think what like maybe my favorite creature feature would be. I love Pumpkinhead. I think that Pumpkinhead's like kind of an underrated one. Doesn't get enough love. Pumpkinhead's a great villain. I think because of like the mythology around him, and also you gotta love some Stan Winston looking creatures like that. Love that. Alien and Predator, I feel like, are both great creatures, man. Some fucking sick designs in both cases. Man, so many good ones. So hard to pick just one thing, you know? Those, I think the Xenomorph in general is probably my favorite, like, iconic creature, though. Man, it's just it's a sick design. It's got just a horrible, nasty habit of spraying acid blood on you or getting its little mouth through your forehead. Lots of horrible ways to die via a Xenomorph. Sully Streams is saying, eating my Chipotle and watching Killjoy Jake. I haven't had Chipotle in so long. That sounds so good, man. Enjoy, my friend. Devin Morgan is saying, I went to see Megan 2 this past weekend. Wasn't really impressed. First one was better, 5 out of 10. I'm right about there with you. Yeah, I'd give it like a 4 or a 5. I feel you, Devin. I still had fun with it, though. I can't say that about... I can't say that about every Blumhouse release I've seen in the last couple of years, and I think that goes a long way for me when it comes to Blumhouse releases. Not to be too big on the comparison there, but I would rather watch Megan 2.0 over something like Woman in the Yard, or I mean, fuck, even Wolfman, which that has to be my biggest disappointment of the year. Wolfman, right there. That I was highly anticipating, and I just did not have a lot of love for it, which I think is such a bummer. Major bummer there. Cody is saying, what if the company who made 2019 Chucky and the company who made Megan went after each other? There's a lot of people who criticize the first Megan, saying that it was too similar to Child's Play 2019. And it's funny, I was talking with my friends, the Splattercast guys, last night. We did a little live stream talking about some horror news, and we were talking about, Megan 2 and just where we felt it should have went instead of where it did. And biggest thing that we came up with was they should have done basically what the Child's Play 2019 sequel could have been, along the lines of, Megans are being sold everywhere. There's a bunch of, robot Megans causing terror all around the globe. You could have made the concept bigger and more ridiculous, but still kept it, doll themed horror, where this movie, it's almost shocking, the concept they decided to go with. I don't even, honestly, the thing that bugs me about the movie isn't even necessarily the tone being more insane. It's just more so the story we got, which is just like, what? Why would this be the sequel story to that film? And I'm all about taking sequels down a weird new direction. I think 28 years later is a successful bout of that. You know what I mean? Like that's a divisive film, it seems, but it's a movie that chose to do something where it could have just gone down the straight and narrow path, but it decided to go down this other side street. And I think some people aren't loving that about it. I have so much respect for 28 Years Later, especially after seeing it multiple times. I'm like, dude, if this movie would have been Walking Dead, the feature film, I think more people would have hated it. I think it would have been less than divisive. I did not want Walking Dead, the movie. And honestly, that was my one worry after seeing that really impressive trailer is I was like, this looks awesome. Vibes are there, clearly. But is this just going to be Walking Dead, the movie, where it's just people trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic world? It's so dreary that no fun can be had, essentially. And no, I mean, they found a way to do some really artistic and interesting, even emotional plot lines there that I loved. So I don't know. I think you absolutely have to swing for the fences with a sequel. You have to try something out. And sometimes you hit a home run and sometimes you completely fall flat on your face. But I respect Megan 2.0 for being ambitious, but I don't know if it really worked for me. I'm glad it did for others, though. I really am. Both of these movies we're talking about are you either love them or you hate them, I feel. A lot of movies like that these days, though. But that's creativity for you, man. Not everyone's going to love the new stories that you come up with, but that's okay. You got to just keep trekking on, keep making your weird things, man. Apollo Balboa is saying, what are the percentages that the killers in Scream 7 will be related to the legacy characters? I think it's a very high chance. I oddly feel like they want to connect everything from this new run, just based on a lot of the dialogue that we've gotten in the last two. And you got to think, right? This is Guy Busick writing it again. Love that or hate it. I'm sure Guy's going to want to find a way for 5 and 6 to somehow bleed into the next film a little bit, where it doesn't necessarily, like, it doesn't have to, even though, because, you know, it is a brand new story. Technically, we are focusing on Sydney, and that wasn't exactly the focus of the last 2 movies. But, you know, how are we going to make this connected to 5 and 6, the Sam Carpenter story, still bleeding into 7? I really think the biggest way you do that is take something that was just kind of I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but I think this is the way that they'll probably go about doing it. Have the killer be somebody that was mentioned in one of the previous films, which is, I mean, that's why, honestly, that's one of the biggest reasons I've been talking about Leslie Mocker so much. I'm not even really that interested in the character. I'm like, okay, whatever, Stu had a sister. I could completely leave that in the past personally. But I just know that Guy is going to want to have some sort of connection. And when that twist happens, they'll be able to come out and say, well, that's been set up since Scream 5. You know, you can't even, you know, we didn't have to rehaul this entire script. We had that idea from 2022 onward, man. And that's what I'm worried about, is they're going to be very defensive of this script, whatever it ends up being. Again, this is not like a criticism of Guy Busick's writing. I actually kind of like a lot of the movies he's written. I think that Abigail and what is it, Ready or Not, are really some of the better horror films from the last 5, 6, 7 years or whatever. I mean, they're killer movies. They're really fun. They're really fun little popcorn movies. And there are times when it comes to Scream where it's like, it's a little more complex, and I don't know if these scripts have gotten everything right. And I think that's why people aren't as crazy about them. But we'll see what 7 offers. We'll see what it's all about. We'll see who the killer is. But I would, if I was a betting man, and I promise you I'm not, I would put money on the fact that the killer is going to be related to somebody from the past, or is going to be connected to the events of the original movie again somehow. And I think in a weird sort of way that kind of makes it lose some of its luster. You know, it's not, is it really a murder mystery at this point if we're able to predict a lot of the stuff happening? I know I'm kind of talking about it like it's already out. Maybe that's not fair, but if I'm not right, I would be beyond shocked. And that would be awesome. but unfortunately, I feel like we're stepping into some territory where we are very familiar. We kind of know what this is going to be all about. And that's why I'm not loving the sounds of everything. But hopefully I'm surprised. And I'll tell you what, I'll take back every bad thing I've said about Scream 7 if it's able to do something truly surprising, but we'll see. Ryan Noel Chow, what's up, my friend? You subscribed to the gaming channel? Thank you, Ryan. I greatly appreciate that a ton. It really means a lot to us. Thank you. We're one step closer to 1,000 subs now. Thank you, dude. Marquise Ballum is saying, I know what you did last summer. I'm so excited for that one. Rock on, dude. I'm weirdly excited for that one, too. You know, I've been, I don't want to sound like an I know what you did last summer hater, but I guess I kind of went into those movies with higher expectations than I should have. You know, coming from the same guy that wrote Scream, I had those same expectations, and I just don't know if it's as good as the Scream series. But they are still fun movies. They are still very Kevin Williamson at their core. And I have a good time with them, you know. But I do feel like there are elements that could have been done better. I'm even looking at this new one, and I'm seeing them put that thought process, like that logical. Well, wouldn't this be easier to write and make sense in a movie? I'm seeing some of that already in the 2025 movie, just from the trailer alone, that I'm really liking, and I'm really digging some of the. I'm digging some of the new characters. It's going to be fun to have some of the old characters back again. I don't know if I Know What You Did Last Summer needed a sequel even to begin with, but hey, I'll take it. It's fun. It's a fun little summer blockbuster horror is how I feel about it, and I think it's going to be a good time. So nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with some fun. David Primero is saying, I want another Resident Evil movie. Hopefully they focus on the Leon story in Resident Evil 4. Ooh, that for a movie? That would be sick, David. Unfortunately, though, they are making a new Resident Evil movie, but I still think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be that based on what we've heard. But it's coming from Mr. Zach Krager, who has a very big release not next month yet, technically, right? It's not July in like a couple of hours, pretty much. 9 more hours will be in July. But Zach Krager has a new Resident Evil movie. That's going to be his third feature after Weapons comes out. And it sounds like he's making like an adaptation of the original Resident Evil game, like the very first movie. It's going to be in some sort of mansion, probably the Spencer mansion, like from the first game again, and solely focus on that. we've kind of had a Resident Evil movie do that, but also kind of not. The original Paul W.S. Anderson film kind of does that, you know? But it's also kind of just its own story in general. So I'm excited for a more faithful adaptation of the original game versus, you know, whatever that first Resident Evil film adaptation was. But I think eventually we could get to a version of the 4 story. You know what I mean? There are elements of it in some of the other movies, but nothing as faithful, I guess, is what you're talking about, essentially. But hopefully, I'm really excited to see what they do next with Resident Evil. Before that, though, we have a new Silent Hill movie coming out in January, which doesn't look good, but I'm gonna fucking see it, and I'm probably gonna like it. Silent Hill is this weird guilty pleasure of mine. Even the sequel, which everybody hates, I kind of love it. It's objectively a bad movie, but goddamn, I have so much fun with it. So I can't wait to see what it's all about. Zork the Dark One, throwing $5 out there. Thank you, Zork. Appreciate the support from the dark corners of the internet. Saying, I have my fitness test for the California Department of Corrections on the 16th. Wish me luck. Do you... See, I have questions now. Are you working there, Zork? Like, are you working at the Department of Corrections? Like at essentially a prison? Like is that what's going on? Because that's crazy. That's wild. I need an update. I need an update on this super chat like stat. I need to know more, Zork. As long as you're willing to share that, of course. Wild, dude. I hope you kill it. I hope you ace it. Flawless. I hope you're in crazy shape. I hope you're like in the middle of an 80s montage where you're just doing a bunch of push-ups right now and like someone's sitting on your back and you're like, oh, and like a sweat's pouring out of your face. I'm trying to, what would be the song that would play over that? We need some sort of 80s song, some 80s banger playing over that. Maybe you're at like Venice Beach or something and you're just like running. It's like gorgeous outside right now. That's what I imagine Zork's doing right now, but maybe I'm just completely off. You said California, so that's that's where my mind went. Good luck, Zork. Thank you for the $5. Thanks for supporting the page. I hope you kill it. Ella is with us saying, damn, we got an early stream. Hell yeah, you're damn right. we're vibing out early, kind of. 3 o'clock streams are going to be kind of the norm moving forward, unfortunately. I know some people have said I can really only make the 7 o'clock ones, but the good news there is we're still streaming around 7 o'clock over on the gaming channel. So tomorrow night, and I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to try to commit to it, even though I got a crazy day starting tomorrow morning. I'm going to try to go live at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. We're going to be playing Fall Guys with viewers. It's going to be fun. Is Fall Guys a horror game? Not necessarily, but it's a really fun game to play with viewers, let me tell you. It's also free. It's free to play. You can download it on the Epic Store right now on your computer, either your console, too. And you can literally play with us on stream. It's a ton of fun. We did it at the end of our 8-hour stream last Saturday. It was chaos. So that'll be happening at 7 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Stop on by for a little Fall Guys tournament. It's going to be really fun. So and also I want to say thank you to everyone who showed up to what was a repo stream and turned into a Fall Guys stream because we were going for so long. Thank you guys for everyone who played last week. So it's going to be very fun. Tuesday is going to be a really fun day. I can't wait for it. What else do we got here? We got Ty Lee, who's also a channel member. Thanks for being here, dude. Dang, I'm late. You're here now, man. That's all that matters. I had to watch T2 last night, and it reminded me of how hyped we all were when we first saw the trailer. I imagine you're talking about Terrifier 2. Terminator 2 has come up on stream too, but Terrifier 2, yes. I remember the hype for this movie. It was pandemonium. I remember when we were, just talking about the film, pitching theories. Who is Art the Clown? What's going on with all this? And it was just a ton of fun. Just a really fun time overall. It was one of the big series that kind of helped grow this page too. So it's got a personal thing for me. And I also just love that movie. I remember seeing the original Terrifier and being like, this has some really cool moments. I don't know if it's great, but there are some great moments here. And then Terrifier 2 just blew every expectation I had out of the water. I think it's still my favorite from the entire franchise, even though 3 is fucking banging too. But there's something just special about Terrifier 2, man. It feels so indie, but also just so fun, so bloody and over the top, and just like so much malice for like not really a lot of reason. And I think that's what's so fun about it. But lots to love about Terrifier 2. I come back to it quite a bit now. It's fucked up, but it's a great one for me to watch at least before bed. I think it's just a silly, I can turn my brain off and have fun with it kind of movie. And then even then though, there is some great lore, some great things to chew on with some of the characters and some of the things that are building across all these movies. Can't wait to see the culmination of it, hopefully dropping sometime in October of 2026. Fingers crossed. Not a ton of updates on Terrifier 4 lately, except that Rhea Ripley is very interested in joining it. Would love to see her play like a demon or something, hanging out in hell, helping Art the Clown. Would love something like that in the next film, but we'll see. Samantha Robinson subscribed to the gaming channel. Thank you, Samantha. Appreciate the support. Means a lot. Jojo Cortez is saying, my excitement for I Know has increased. Something about it looks very thrilling. That last trailer was pretty solid. Definitely showed a little more, but definitely has me a little more excited for the film overall. It's a longer movie, too, which I just found out. It's got it's 2 hours and something runtime, which is kind of crazy. So I think it's going to be fun and hopefully does enough work to build up the new characters alongside catching us up with the legacy characters. That's going to be a very big thing that it would be able to do better than Scream 5 in those ways. Because there's times in 5, especially going back to it now, where I'm like, I just wish they did more character work with some of the new folks. I just don't even know who some of these people are before they die. I think I Know What You Did Last Summer, considering it's essentially going about doing the same story in its own universe, I think it could find a way to do that better with some of the new people, which I hope it does. I really do. Again, rooting for this one big time. Jeremy Melton Edits is saying, do you think Hard Eyes will get a sequel? This is actually a big maybe right now. It didn't do great at the box office, but it did get a little bit of attention during its second weekend, where it actually made more money than its first weekend, which never happens. I mean, that is a huge rarity. So for that to happen, for word of mouth to spread about the film, and people to kind of dig it a little more than even what I think the studio was expecting of it, that could be enough to render a sequel. Again, did it make a fuck ton of money at the box office? No. But I don't know if they're considering it a total flop, considering how much attention it did end up garnering. So that's one where, despite the box office number, I'm still going to say it could absolutely still get a sequel. There's potential there. I've gotten this comment quite a bit, Riley Rage, that you feel that 28 years later could have been a TV series. I've heard a few people say that. I think they're setting up so many different things because it's going to follow through across the rest of the trilogy. And that's why it feels like a TV series. There's just so much going on, so many little tiny plot lines that have yet to be resolved. In a lot of ways, I think that feels like a long television series with multiple seasons. But I'm excited to see where all these things go. Again, I feel like I can't even necessarily judge 28 years later just based on that one film. It's clearly the start of one big story. It's like only watching one season of a 3-season show and then saying, well, this is my definitive opinion of the whole thing, I feel like we're not going to have a full thought process on it until we get all 3 movies. And it's the same thing. Like, honestly, I felt the same way with Halloween 2018 once they announced that there was going to be 2 more movies continuing that story, but it is different because I think that's a bad comparison. Halloween 2018 is a great standalone movie, but it tries to do a bigger story across the next 2. But it's just not set up the same way. Disregard that. That's a bad take. 28 years later, it feels like the first act of one big movie, kind of similar to something like Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. That's a better comparison. That one has a lot of loose ends still left open by the time you get to the end of that first film, but it's still a masterpiece in its own right. But I feel like we can't judge it all until you've seen the other 2, though, at the same time. Fellowship, I feel like it only gets better once you've watched 2 Towers and Return of the King. Zork is throwing $5 out there saying, kind of giving us a continuation to his last super chat here, saying, you're not hired there just yet. This is just the fitness test to get hired. My plan is to hopefully climb to a parole agent after a couple of years of corrections. Okay, rock on, dude. Good. I had a friend who worked at one of the correction facilities here in Cleveland, and dude made some bank. So I hope you're making some good money, dude, doing that. And also, just good luck. Just good luck on a fitness test is tough. You know what I mean? I feel like just taking a regular test is one thing, but like a fitness test is like, that's a lot of training, a lot of physical training that's typically kicks people's asses, man. So that's impressive. But you are Zork, the Dark One, destroyer of worlds. So I have a little more faith in you than just the average Joe. Zork, thank you for the $5, my friend. Good luck. I hope you get it. Please keep us updated here in the community. We want to know. Again, inquiring minds not only want to talk about horror movies, but we want to know about the status of Zork Dark One's employment. Damn it. We're curious. But Zork, seriously, good luck, my friend. Caffeine Cutie. What's up, Caffeine Cutie? Saying, bro, I haven't seen Bring Her Back movie. Jake, ? I recommend this one. It's don't expect talk to me energy with this movie. I feel like it's definitely got a different vibe, but like a similar substance, a similar theme that it's hitting on, but it's just more of a downer vibe, I feel. Talk to Me was fun. You know what I mean? I feel like I came out of Talk to Me with some energy, and I was like, that was fun and kind of scary at times. You know, it had a horrifying and bleak ending, but it had a really just fun vibe about it. You know, I felt like I was kind of hanging out with these teenagers, and they made possession like a drug, essentially. You know, when I was a teenager, we would sneak booze from whoever's parents' cabinets, and we would party all night long, and it was chaos. And it was we probably shouldn't have been doing that. But here in Talk to Me, it was like, what if that was possession? You know, what if these kids were possessing themselves and taking videos on their phones and having a blast with it? So that movie has this air of fun about it, which I don't think Bring Her Back does have. But it's got it again. It's just going for something else entirely. It's a different kind of film that I really enjoyed. My only real negative thing I have to say about it is that it does kind of hit on the same old of like grief movies that you've seen like kind of a million times since Hereditary came out in 2018. So you might get a little exhausted by that because it's definitely hitting on those same ideas and ideals. But I still recommend it. I still think it's well done, even if it's hitting in a field where we've kind of seen that a couple of times now. Jim the Kid. What's up, Jim the Kid? Saying just watched Red Right Hand, really liked it. Thank you, my friend. That was a really fun project to make, so I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh shit, I missed this. Dave is hanging out with us, saying Fall Guys tomorrow night at 7. I hope you're ready, Jake. Coop better be there. Coop better be there. And guys, if you missed the stream over on the gaming channel last Saturday, Dave and Coop had a crazy rivalry. I even went so far as to say that this was more fun for me to watch than it was for anybody hanging out in the stream. It was just the craziest smack talk, and I mean, we were crying laughing at a certain point. Seriously, do not miss that stream tomorrow night at 7. It's going to be, it's a huge tournament. That's what it's going to be. It's a massive tournament. And everyone can play. Like, we have like 32 slots for people to play. So everyone's going to be able to get in. I can't imagine we're going to have more than 32 people. I hope we have more than 32 people. That would be great. But I doubt it. So everyone's going to be able to play pretty much. Sean P. Tattoos, what's up, my friend? Sorry I'm late. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Thanks for being here, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Mr. PC is saying, I'm not a fan of Art the Clown getting a backstory. You don't want to know. You don't want to know the backstory. Honestly, I respect it, dude. I'm dying to know. I've been coming up with theories about it for years now. So I think just me personally, I have to know. But I understand the want to just keep it ambiguous. You know, just let's just let this guy do his thing and go nuts and kill people. Honestly, I had the same. I weirdly had the same thoughts about John Wick for the longest time. In a way, spoiler alert for John Wick 4. I guess it's been out for a couple of years. They just released the next movie. I can talk spoilers with this. When they killed John in part 4, I almost felt like that kind of took away some of the fun that I loved about the first 3 movies. But the more that I've sat with it, I'm like, okay, that felt like a necessary time to do that. Just all things considered with this very tortured character. And I almost feel like, you know, killing John Wick is the equivalent of explaining Art the Clown. It kind of takes away something from that character. And I hear my only thing that I don't love is that Terrifier 4 is supposed to be the final entry. And we're going to explain everything about him in the very beginning. Like, we got that confirmed. First 15 minutes is going to explain who Art the Clown is. Is that going to suck the fun out of the character, knowing, you know, where all of his power comes from? I don't know. I guess Damien has faith in the idea that his backstory is strong enough that we're still going to be able to have fun with this character, still have some intrigue and mystery throughout an entire film. I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to check it out. But we'll see. We'll see what it's all about. Silver Princess throwing 5 out there. Thank you for the 5, my Roman loving friend, saying this super chat has been removed by the United States government. Ah, dang it. See, you can't put the I might actually get in trouble for saying this. You can't put the JD Vance memes in your super chat, because you do that and then you just get deported. It's crazy. I shouldn't even be making jokes about that. It's terrible what's going on right now. But I'm so sorry about that, Silver Princess. Jokes aside, I appreciate the 5. Thank you for the support, my friend. Shit's getting scary right now. I don't know what to do. Anyways, David Primero throwing another 5 out there. Thank you. Prediction for I Know What You Did Last Summer. We'll take the same plot line of OG urban legend where the girl's boyfriend loved one. I read that wrong. Wherein the girl's boyfriend loved one is killed in the car and that girl will be the killer. Okay. I like that quite a bit. It's got to be some connection to what happened to the car accident, right? That's got to be what's going on here. Something along those lines. I actually kind of like the idea of taking something from OG urban legend. I don't even mind that. I think that could be interesting. That's a good twist from I love the original urban legend. That one got me. I got to be completely honest. I saw that movie maybe a couple of years after I saw the first. No, it was more than a couple of years. It was a couple of years into doing this. I wanted to say after the first time I watched Scream, but that's not true. For a couple of years after doing this, I discovered urban legend. I watched it and I remember I was just like, dude, that was a great twist. Like that was sick as fuck. So to do something along those lines, I don't think I would mind that too much. I think that would be kind of fun. So rock on with that. Okay. I like the idea of it being a love interest. That could be cool, but in a unique way. You know what I mean? This isn't like just the same old. We're following this boyfriend character the entire time and bam, they're the killer. It's like, no, this is somebody we didn't even know was connected to the car, to the car accident, I should say. Okay. David, I'm into it. I like that. One thing I 100% agree on, and early prediction, I'd even go so far as to say 100% whoever the killer is has a personal tie to the car accident. So that for sure, 100% is the case. How, how, why, where, when, I don't know. But I definitely think whoever, passed in that car accident, the killer's upset about it. David, thank you for the 5. Silver Princess, thank you for the 5. Thank you guys for your support. Really does mean a lot. Richie TB96 saying, calling it now in the end of Terrifier 4, the devil will tell Art if he can kill Sienna, he will grant him immortality again. That's insane and I love it. Sienna kills Art, then beheads the devil, remember in her father's book. Yeah, that is something we definitely got to bring up. Definitely something we got to talk about, because the head getting chopped off is not Art. In the sketchbook. It's a demon. It's literally a demon. And I think for the longest time, all of us had said that, thank you, Madison. I appreciate you telling me to do all chat. We're 42 minutes into this and I just got to that. Getting back on track here, I think it's easy to see that demon head and say, oh, that's probably a metaphor for Art the Clown. I mean, he's an evil guy. I could see comparing him to a demon. He's got supernatural powers. I think legitimately Sienna's going to kill the devil. I'm so with you on this, because it's all set up, man. It's all set up with what happened in the last movie. We're going to hell. Her cousin literally got dragged down into hell. I mean, dog, something's going on here. So that's going to be our third act setting. And the other thing too, a very, very, very minor criticism of Terrifier 3. I just kind of wish we had a cooler setting for the third act. Just, again, not a really big, nowhere near a movie killer by any means, but like, it's a living room during Christmas, compare that to the clown cafe and the all the settings of the second movie. Just the Terrifier attraction being the set piece for our big third act battle was so cool with the last one. For it to just kind of be like, Christmas living room, it fits the movie. It does. But I guess I just kind of wanted something a little more epic for a film that kind of lends itself to something like that. Terrifier 4 could be the film that steps it up in that department. I mean, hell is a setting for your third act of your slasher movie. Come on now. I mean, that would be awesome. That would be badass. So I'm so into that being our setting. I'm so down for Art the Clown, the devil, all these things being our final bosses, essentially. I think, and here's my thing. Here's my just real quick thought with that, and then we're going to move on. But I almost feel like Sienna has to kill the devil first, and then Art the Clown, now just a human again, could have a fight with Sienna. And then this time, if you chop off his head, he's really done for. But I feel like if the final battle, whatever that looks like, the final fight in the movie, it has to be between a human version of Art, just him from the original movie, essentially, versus Sienna. It just has to be their fight. Little insane little cat fight, essentially. And then just that could be the end of it. Sienna finally kills him. Human version of Art is just done for. No supernatural powers. Take that away from him first, then have the fight. And Picky Piggy is throwing another really interesting acting role from Richard Harmon out there. Yeah, he's one of the kids in Trick or Treat who is on the bus and dies. He's the one with the vampire mask. Yeah. I always forget that. It's a smaller role. Does he even have any lines? Like, I don't even know that. I think he's just in the movie like for a couple of scenes, but really interesting role that he was in Trick or Treat. But such a good movie too. Such an underrated movie. So much fun there for sure. JPR is saying, gotta know, Jake, if you could come up with the big premonition that kicks off Final Destination 7, what would it be? Well, this is a great question for a lot of reasons, because I almost feel like going from, honestly, all 6 of these movies, I think you could argue kind of build with the premonitions a little bit. Like they almost get bigger each time. I feel like I would almost want to, I don't know if I want to break that cycle or not. I think with 7, I'd want to make it more elaborate, but how do you do that after an entire building collapsed? My argument would say, do it on a cruise ship. That was actually supposed to be the opening premonition of Final Destination 7 before it got changed. And we were supposed to be on like this big old nasty paddle boat that would explode. And, all these people would die and fall into the water and shit. But doing it on a cruise ship, that to me would be really interesting. And I think an escalation in some ways. A lot more people on a cruise ship than there are in a high rise, like sky tower, essentially. It's not like a typical high rise building, right? It's like a Space Needle, essentially. So I think that would be even crazier to do something along those lines. An entire cruise ship essentially sinks. And then I think how you could do it is just do it in the typical way of a Final Destination film. Don't do it like Bloodlines again, where it's like all these generations and families that death is coming after. Just like a select group of people, let's say like 6 to 10 folks survive. They get pulled off, and now they're all trying to survive. Everyone else, explodes on the cruise ship and shit. But these 10 people who got away, they gotta cheat death essentially. I really like the cruise ship thing. I think, like me personally, I'm terrified of cruise ships. I'm horrified of getting too far out on the water, because I think that has got to be the worst way to go, is being in the middle of the ocean with nobody around to save you. That has to be one of the worst ways. Oh my God. I would rather like catch on fire than that shit. That sounds crazy. So for something like that to be, having a generalized fear, I think, be such a focus of a premonition sequence like that is so important, in my opinion. There's this Adam Stein, the director, one of the directors of the previous film, talks about how he incorporated his own fear of heights with like the idea of the whole, Sky Needle collapse thing. And there's so many moments of that where you get a character who's like looking down, and it's a long way down, man. It's freaky shit. They're able to incorporate that into that scene, which is nice. And I think the same has to be said for any future premonitions, which is why I think the cruise ship thing works so well. I am definitely not alone in that boat of saying that I'm terrified to be that far out on the water. I know some people are totally fine with it, but me personally, oh my God, like the sharks are one thing, but like literally starving to death in the middle of the ocean for multiple days, that is no. Fuck that, dude. I'm good on cruise ships. I'll hang out right here on the land. Mr. PCS2 is saying, have you seen Stranger Things: The First Shadow? It's really good. I saw it when I went to New York. Has massive implications for season 5. No, I'm gonna have to look into that. Is that that's a stage show, I imagine? That's what I'm guessing. I actually don't know anything about this. Mr. PCS, yeah, let us know more. Let us know more about these things. And also, if you have any theories about Stranger Things Season 5 based on that, because your boy's really excited for Stranger Things Season 5. I want it. I want it in my veins. Inject it into me. Raggedy Man 78 saying, hi all. Hi. Hello, my friend. Welcome in. What else is going on? Jake, have you seen the new Brad Pitt movie F1? Asks Samantha Robinson. No, I actually have not. It looks good. I love Brad Pitt though, and I'm really excited for this continuation to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Maybe more than anything regarding Mr. Pitt. But I got to see that. Looks good. Looks fun. Have I seen The Hills Run Red? No. I also another thing. I'm so sorry. I'm blanking on that one. Brutal there. Oh, shit. Dave, I'm going to have to make a whole video on this because this is interesting. I didn't need to know Art's backstory until I rewatched Terrifier 1 last weekend. And I just realized you see him putting on his makeup. Now I need that explanation. Who is that underneath that mask? Yeah, I feel like we already have some inklings of what his backstory is for sure. And I'm really excited to learn more. I'm excited to learn more. I do, you know, it was said earlier about I don't think I want to know that backstory. I agree. I mean, I get it. I think it shatters the illusion a little bit of a way. Some of the fun is going to be sucked out of Terrifier 4 doing that in the opening scene. But with this being the final film, I understand the want to do that, to just, you know, get it out of the way. Here's what's been going on the whole time. Now let's wrap up the story. I get it, but I want that. I want to keep that illusion for as long as possible, you know, like keep me in the thick of it, in the mystery for as long as you possibly can. So don't want to criticize something before it even comes out. But I that's one of the biggest things that drives my interest with Terrifier is that there's this massive mystery happening seemingly in the background of the last two films that I'm loving. Like I can't wait to get the answer, and that's why I feel like they shouldn't give us the answer until the last minute of Terrifier 4, personally. Stella G, thank you for being a member, my friend, saying just ran to the pretentious coffee shop across the street and made it back in time to enjoy my mocha latte and the rest of my break with Jake and y'all. Yay! Thanks for hanging out with us, Stella. I feel there's a story there. Pretentious coffee shop. You had a bad run in there. I hate to I'm not trying to put words in your mouth or nothing, but that is very interesting. I want to know more. You don't have to share more. You don't got to dox an entire coffee shop on here unless you want to, because spilling tea is always fun. But oh my God, wow, all good though. I hope it's good coffee. If it still happens to be pretentious a little bit, but thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you a ton, and have a nice break as well. Have a relaxing break if you can. It's really important. Oh God, Jeremy is saying Tom Six, the director of The Human Centipede, which I never realized the acronym for that would be THC. That's fucking awesome. Rock on. 420, baby. Saying, I guess it's trying to make a movie grosser or gorier than all of those movies. Why? Just that's all I have to say to Tom Six. Why? Do you just hate human beings that much that you need to make more of those? No, I kid. I make, you know, again, I can't stress that enough. Make your art, even if it's something as foul as that. It's you got to do it. You got to make it. Because goddamn, it's a talking point whether we like it or not. Those movies are something else, dude. I couldn't even get through the second one. I couldn't. I'll never watch the third one. Like, even if someone was like, Jake, here's $50, review the third movie, I'm not doing it. Sorry. No amount of money is going to make me watch that. Ty Lee is saying, I want Art to be the main villain. I want to see Art in his final form. Remember in Aladdin when Ty, this is crazy and I fucking love it. Remember in Aladdin when Jafar turns into a giant snake? Something like that, giant clown snake. Ty, I just love you. Can I say that? I love you. I love this comment. This is my favorite thing I've ever read in my life. Comparing Art the Clown to Jafar from Aladdin is the greatest thing that'll ever happen on a stream. Wow, fuck yeah to that. Glad we have some fellow Aladdin enjoyers, though, too. I feel like that's very important to recognize. But, sorry, getting to this. I have to admit, though, my friend, that does feel very Pennywise. You know, doesn't that feel like a very Pennywise thing to do? And Art the Clown is, in a lot of ways, kind of the antithesis of that character. But hey, I'm not against some crazy supernatural bullshit, because that's kind of one of the biggest reasons why I love Art the Clown. Can we do that in a Damien Leone way, though? You know, can we have him going all demonic in a more grounded isn't the right word. How would I describe Damien's style? It's a little more like, I guess there's like a medieval touch to it, I guess, that I want to go for, where Pennywise is a little more fantastical. So, like, what's a good comparison? If Pennywise is your Freddy Krueger, I think Art the Clown is like a Pinhead. You know what I mean? Like, both supernatural killers, but they have just a different like tone about them, right? They're very similar in a lot of ways, but they're so different in terms of tone. Like there's so much more of a pessimistic and bleak attitude towards something like the Cenobites, where there's just a fun energy and air to something like Freddy Krueger, even though both are, villains. So I feel like you got to find that. You just got to find that way to approach it with Art the Clown. He's a little more of he's a little darker, I feel, than Pennywise. What else is going on here? Fandom's Full is saying, my one problem with a cruise ship premonition is that you can't really get off of it. You could do like characters getting on the cruise ship, you know what I mean? And then it sets sail, and then like a couple minutes out of the harbor, it just explosion. You could see it from the harbor, essentially. That's how I would think to approach it. So I guess it wouldn't get that deep sea, like, feel that I was kind of going for. But or you know what else you could do? I just thought about this. You could have lifeboats. You'd have characters getting on the lifeboats before a thing explodes or something, and just like maybe in the premonition explain that all the lifeboats burn up or something before anyone can get to them. You could do some crazy bullshit like that. I feel like you could find some workarounds where characters could survive it depending on how you set it up. Ooh, Samantha's saying a Final Destination in a desert setting could be cool. Okay, I like the idea of a desert setting. Again, how do we set that up? You could set that up in an interesting way. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but the desert is another, like, that's fucked up. A sun beating down on your neck, dying of dehydration. That sounds awful, man. Sounds like an awful way to go. The Ribbit's here. What's up, my friend? Yo, yo, yo. Thanks for hanging out with us. What up, what up? Rye Shy Guy, thanks for being a member, saying, what's up? Didn't know you'd be live during work hours. Stoked to finally be able to join a live. It's been so long. Thanks for being here, my friend. Yeah, sorry, we're going live at, typically 3 p.m. Eastern time, going typically till 5. That is, if we get our super chat goal, which we only have 5 minutes to get to. But yeah, we're going live at 3 p.m. Eastern now, and I know that that sucks. I know we were going live at 7. I hate changing it up on you guys like that, but it's just kind of where my schedule is right now. Unfortunately, I'm moving into an apartment with my lovely fiance, and we just want to have some time together throughout the week. And if I'm streaming at 7 o'clock, that kind of cuts into Jake and Madison time. So I love hanging out with you guys. Don't get me wrong, but I do want to have some time for my family, essentially. So but I'm gonna try to keep it consistent moving forward, 3 p.m. Eastern time to essentially 4 or 5 throughout the weeks, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So it's the summertime too, so we're throwing an extra stream in there on Wednesdays, which is fun. So we love it. It's a good time, very good time. But Rye Shy Guy, thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for talking a little horror. John Best is asking how I am today. I'm fantastic, dude. I'm going to see Jurassic World Rebirth after this, and you boys, I'm going with my dad, so I guess he's the other boy in this question. But we're going to put out a review very early tomorrow. The embargo is technically lifted. Like I could talk about it right now, but I will not have seen the film until a couple hours from now. So going to see it at 7 o'clock tonight, and I will have a review very early tomorrow for you guys to check out. I'm so excited. Like I'm over the moon about this film. I've heard some of my reviewer friends have seen it already through the Monday Mystery that from last Monday, and they said it was okay, is what majority consensus has been, is middling reviews. But I have some weird takes on the Jurassic World franchise. I feel like I'm actually going to really like this one, based on some of the things I'm hearing. Sounds like there's a clearer focus on horror elements, some really intense sequences, and some fun characters overall. And I think that's really all I'm looking for. I'm really looking for a simpler, more dinosaur-focused story after the last movie. So my expectations are low, which is why I think I'm especially going to like this one. But I'm going to try to review it accordingly, just based on what it is, without comparison to what came before, even though Dominion is like the bottom of the barrel, in my opinion. So I think no matter what this is, it's going to be better than that. Bobby Smooth is saying, with Bloodlines, I would not be involved due to my fear of heights. You're like, I don't even want to be a part of the filming process of that. I don't even want to get near that with a 10-foot pole. I respect it, Bobby. No, that is brutal. I know that they filmed a lot of that on like a soundstage in front of a green screen, though. If that makes you feel better. So it's simulated height, not actual height. Might make you feel a little better. I don't know. Which movie would you rewatch all the time if you weren't busy? What's a movie I love rewatching? I just rewatched Jaws for the 50th anniversary. Great movie. So much fun. It's a movie I'll come back to for the rest of time. I feel like it's just genuinely it's one of those movies that's timeless. You know, it's going to be relative still here in another 50 years probably. But I really love Jaws. That's a movie I come back to all the time. A normie pick, I know, but I don't care. It's so good. I love that movie to death. Trying to think of another one. Evil Dead 2013, I feel like is just one of my favorites. I love that movie so much. It goes so hard. So much respect to the original run of the Evil Dead movies. Some of my favorites out there, but there's just something about that 2013 flick that it just goes so hard for me, man. I love it to death. It is brutal to watch, horrifying in so many different ways, and has some pretty great characters too. It's a simple story. It's nothing too overcomplicated. It's exactly what it needed to be, and thankfully nothing more. Because sometimes you can overcomplicate something like that and make it too big where it doesn't need to be. So those two movies are ones I come back to all the time. I try to only buy movies that I know I'm going to rewatch a ton now, because I'm not going to lie, guys, there's some movies that have just sat on this shelf and I'm like, man, I just don't know if I care about that one anymore. But good example of that is Lamb from A24. I bought that movie after, like, I really liked it when I saw it because it's just weird and so different, but it's just not a movie that I'm going to rewatch a ton. Like, I'll watch it 2 or 3 more times probably in my lifetime, and that's going to be it. That is all I need. But I'm trying to only buy movies that I know I'm going to rewatch a ton. Like Final Destination 6, totally buying that sometime soon. Alien Romulus, yes. The Substance, these are movies that, like, I have to buy at some point. Because I know I want to rewatch those at some point. I just rewatched. I watched 2 movies today because I'm trying to rest up. I'm going to be up literally all night making my Jurassic World Rebirth video. I rewatched Us this morning, and I just watched the movie Marshmallow. I don't know if you guys have seen Marshmallow yet, but a really, really interesting movie. I brought it up an hour ago, but I'm bringing it up again now that we have 50 people. If you've seen Marshmallow, don't spoil it out there because it is a very underground movie. I feel like I haven't even heard that many people talk about it, but wow. Food for thoughts. So much to think about with that movie. Lots to chew on. Like, it's weird. It's a movie that is kind of just one thing for like 80% of it, and then the last 20 minutes throws a million things at you. Just a million different things going on. And it's like, it all kind of worked for me, but I could see some people coming away from that movie being like, what? Like, why did it go that way? But then again, I'm thinking back to other things layered throughout that movie, and I'm like, this has all been set up from the beginning, but weird way to go about that concept. Not what I thought it was going to be at all. Kind of advertises itself as a slasher, but it kind of turns into something else. So I liked it. I really ended up liking it. And my big video for Art the Clown patrons next month is going to be all about that one. So check it out if you're a top tier supporter of the page. And I'm excited to get into it. Going to do a full breakdown and all that fun stuff. Getting back to the chat here, though. Yes, we unfortunately did not make our super chat goal, but I am still going to hang out for a couple of minutes because I just love talking horror with you guys. Mr. PCS is saying Bruce Campbell being in a future Final Destination movie would be pretty cool. I could totally see Bruce Campbell being, slipping into the role of not necessarily like a Bloodworth exactly, but a character who knows a little bit about death. I could see him doing that well and putting his own spin on it. That could be cool. That could be fun. Be a fun actor. I don't know if I'd see him being a character who would die though. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's just not doing the Ash thing though. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it's all about. Avery and Axel is saying, do you think Sydney will die in Scream 7? Also, if she does, what would you feel like? For the longest time, I've been saying Scream 7, Sydney's not going to die. They're not going to kill any of the legacy characters or anything like that. But I just going off of Neve Campbell's track record now, I feel like anything could happen in Scream 7 with the legacy characters, which has me a little more excited for it, honestly. I don't think that there's the whole safety net of Neve anymore. We've talked about it a lot in the past. About how Neve Campbell has famously said multiple times at a ton of different conventions that she just wouldn't kill off the character of Sydney because she wouldn't agree to be in a movie that would do that because she wants to preserve her legacy and she kind of represents like overcoming trauma. Killing her would kind of totally undermine that. Here's my thing though now. We have Neve Campbell who just a couple of years ago completely, barred Spyglass, calling them misogynistic essentially for not giving her a bigger paycheck for being in Scream 6, which is why she was not there. So now she's back for Scream 7. She's promoting the hell out of this movie. She's saying nothing but positive things about the company that she once called misogynistic. That's a major claim. I don't know anymore. This is not me criticizing Neve Campbell by any means whatsoever, but all I'm trying to say is that I think anything could happen in this new movie with the character of Sydney based on that alone. They drove the money truck up to her house. That's what happened. Do I have any way of confirming that? Not necessarily, but dude, that's what happened. They were like, we're going to give you all this money. We're going to make you the star of the show. Come back for Scream 7, please. They got on their hands and knees and begged. And now here she is. She's going to do whatever at this point because they gave her a ton of money. So is Sydney safe at this point? I'm at a point, like throughout all 5 years of doing Scream coverage, I don't know. I really, really do not know. I'm leaning towards she'll probably live realistically, but I think anything could happen regarding the legacy characters in Scream 7 with their fates. That is one thing that honestly does have me excited though. And I feel like it's weirdly a good thing when it comes to 7, because I don't want to exactly expect everything that's going to happen with our characters. And I'm excited. I'm excited to learn what does go on, what storylines will be told. The one thing that I'm pretty sure about though is I don't think Sydney's getting her happy ending at the end of 7. It sounds like they want to make more movies, and I'm sure they're gonna do some sort of fucked up shit to her family, which is gonna be terrible. Rye Shy Guy, thank you for the 5, my friend. Appreciate the support. Saying not a horror, but you and Madison might enjoy a recent movie called Bob Trevino. Bob Trevino likes it. That's the full movie. Okay. Good date night movie. It will also rip your heart out. Awesome. She is very into movies like that. She just made me watch that A24 film, We Live in Time, and it made me cry, made me tear up. It was absolutely brutal. Brutal film, not in the way of a horror movie, but in the way of just emotional treachery. It sets up some great characters and rips them away from you. But I loved that movie quite a bit. It was very fun. It was cool to see some horror actresses in that movie too, kind of play more dramatic roles, which was fun. So that sounds like a movie she would like quite a bit. Those are some of her favorites, the dramas with some sad bullshit happening. We got to see, speaking of that, we got to see the Life of Chuck. Still haven't had time to go see that one, and it just looks like one of those movies that's gonna tear me down. It looks like a movie that's gonna just rip my heart out. So I'm so into I do really like movies like that. Again, horror is always my main cup of tea, but sometimes you get a good drama in there, man, and it's a great story. So I'm all about it, Ryan. Thank you so much for the 5. Appreciate it a ton. Thanks for the support. I love the Shy Guy Ghostface profile picture too, by the way. I can't stress enough how much I love that. We're big Mario Party fans in this house, so I love it. I don't know how to pronounce that at all, but the gargle hole, the Gogurt hole. That's what we're gonna call this. What's up, Gogurt hole? Saying Terrifier theory: the tumor on Sienna's father's head caused him to turn into a serial killer, then detaches and turns into art. This is we've made entire videos about this. Interestingly enough. How do I feel about this? What is going on with this? It's a great question because I don't know. You might be right. But I really do think that Art the Clown was a serial killer even before everything that happened in the original Terrifier. And that's kind of where that theory gets a little interesting and weird to me. But something happened. Something happened there. Something happened with him. Was it a tumor? You know, what was going on there? Well, the original ending for Terrifier 2 was supposed to be that Victoria was going to die, and she was going to grow an Art the Clown out the back of her head, essentially, like Gabriel from Malignant, like same exact idea, pretty much. And they changed it to avoid comparisons with that film. But if that was supposed to be the case, and in that same film we set up that Sienna's father had an evil tumor that made him act, crazy and abusive like, and it brought him to the point of, sewer slide, brought him to the point of that. What does that not sound exactly like what happened to Victoria and what was going to happen to her in the original version of Terrifier 2? I mean, something's going on there. So my thoughts on this, though, that we essentially birthed out Art the Clown, it still brings us to the same conclusion in a lot of ways. It's still Art the Clown is coming from your essence, essentially coming from someone that was infected by Art at some point. I think that it could be something along those lines, that Sienna's father was going to bring that evil into the world, but stopped it by, doing that to himself. And I feel like you're onto something there, the Go-Gurt hole. You're onto something, Mr. Go-Gurt. I don't know what, but something for sure. I think that's going to be part of it once we get down to those first 15 minutes of the next movie, which I'm excited for. Kelly is hanging out with us saying, afternoon, Jake and chat. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I know it's the worst day of the week, but we're getting through it, and we're almost at the end of it too. It's 4 o'clock, baby. 4 o'clock Eastern time. We're nearly there. Nearly at the end of the workday, I should say, at least. The Abram guy is saying, you think Sienna has to die in order to kill Art too? I mean, that could be the case. But I will say Sienna is right in the middle of a Christ figure arc, which essentially what that means has nothing to do. It kind of has something to do with the Bible, not really, but essentially it's the idea of a character that has a rise, a fall, and a comeback. And right now, she had the rise in Terrifier 2. She has the fall in Terrifier 3. Terrifier 4 seems to be her big comeback. Getting revenge. If the Empire struck back in the previous film, essentially, with Art the Clown getting his dirty little hands on the rest of Sienna's family, and even whatever the fuck that portal to the Clown Cafe was at the end of the movie, sucking Gabby in, I feel like the next movie is going to be Sienna's big comeback. So I don't think I honestly don't think Sienna's gonna die, but I wouldn't be shocked either. I feel like Lauren Lavera, after seeing so many different people die in vicious ways, might want a big death for Sienna. Honestly, I don't know. We'll see what it ends up being, but it wouldn't be totally out of this franchise's realm to kill every single character off. Let's be real. So that maybe Gabby could live or something, right? So I don't think that would be out of Terrifier's realm even remotely. JPR is wondering how they're going to do Smile 3. I mean, they have to do something crazy because no one wants to see a Smile 1 and 2 ending again for a third film in a row. Definitely has to get bigger somehow, and how do you do that after Smile 2's ending, I agree. I think biggest thing they can do there, follow another outlandish character. Like, I feel like we went from, like a typical horror protagonist, a doctor character, in the first movie, to a fucking pop star. How do you go bigger than that? Or how do you tell a different story from what those two that we've already gotten? That's a question that's yet to be answered. Calvin Rivera, 910, thank you for the $2, saying just to show some support and love. Calvin, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. Really does mean a ton. Keeping the lights on here at the Killjoy Jake studio. So does mean a lot, my friend. Thank you. We're Madison and I are moving into an apartment soon, so any super chat really goes a long way these days. I'll tell you what. So Calvin, thank you for the love and support. Means a ton. And thanks for just hanging out with us. To everybody else, of course. Cryptic Haze Official is saying, I think Gail is going to bite it to set the tone, but I think she'll go out in a good way. I'll tell you what, Cryptic Haze, I really want this opening scene, whatever it is, to impress. And I think that's going to be really important with this film. And I think the creatives know it too. Let's be real here. There's been some bad juju in between Scream 6 and Scream 7, whether we'd like to talk about it or not. There's been some weird things happening. Scream 7 is kind of got a lot of the cards stacked against it, and I feel like they know that, and they know that they want to, do something that's going to impress people off the bat. So whatever your opening scene is going to be for this new movie, I think it's going to be something that's really got a punch to it, and you're going to see a lot of passion there for sure. It has to. It has to. They're not dumb. You know what I mean? They're not. In every single interview about Scream 7, they're talking about the drama that has gone down in the last couple of years. They know that they have to impress with whatever this film is going to be in any way, shape, or form. And that opening scene is going to be our first impression. You know what I mean? You only get one chance to make a good first impression. And Scream fans want a good and effective opening scene. That is one of the many things in the criteria of Scream films that we're expecting. And I really think that's going to be that's going to be however they set the tone is going to be a very important factor to whatever Scream 7 is going to end up being. So I couldn't agree more. Whatever it's going to be, it's got to be good. Fandom's Full is saying, do you think it's possible that all the previous Final Destination films were focused on descendants of the Skyview survivors or just random people? That's what I thought going into it, but it seems like that's not the case. That might muddy up some things with certain characters' parents surviving before. That kind of, goes against that, right? It's the idea that all these families were wiped down from the top to bottom. Their oldest living member who was maybe at the Skyview Tower to every single child that they had going down the list. I guess it's not random people necessarily, but everybody who was involved with the Skyview accident, death has been going after them the entire time, essentially. And it's a bigger thing than anything we've gotten in the franchise before either. You got to think about all the other survivors. They were a select few out of a massive element of people who died, where I guess what actually ended up happening in Bloodlines is all these people survived pretty much. All these people made it out, and it was effective, but also they all, death came for all of them eventually. I guess, there's also the question of, would you want to survive the premonition, or would you just not want to know and just blink, that's it? I think I would want to survive for a little bit, honestly. I'd want to live for a little longer, maybe even if I did know that it was coming eventually. At least those people got to live a little longer, got to do a little more things with their lives besides just that, what was supposed to happen to them there. So I do, but answering your question, yeah, I don't know if the rest of the movies were that. I think the directors have even come out and said, like, we wanted to do that, but that might have gotten too messy, too complicated. It's romantic because it connects everything, right? And that's fun. That's appealing and satisfying in a weird sort of way, but I just don't know if it would work. I don't know if it would make sense with what's already been established, unfortunately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cello saying, hello, Jake. Feel like Final Destination 7 should be at a gas station explosion, so it will be hard for the survivors to predict who's next in Death's list. You feel like Final Destination should be a gas station explosion, so it'd be hard to like pinpoint who's going through what thing. Okay, I'm into something like that. The gas station explosion. Again, I think we want something. I just want something like crazy and over the top from a Final Destination opening scene. Can we do that at a gas station? I mean, I guess anything's possible. Anything can happen. I want to know what I want to know more details on this. How does the explosion happen? Is there like a big truck driving into the pumps or something before they can get turned off or whatever? There's always got to be something crazy and something nutty to it. You can do this. Saying, what's your thoughts on the new Strangers Chapter 2 trailer in the hospital? Maybe it's just because my expectations are set so low after the first one, but man, I'm just not loving what I'm seeing. It looks like just a very watered down version of Halloween 2, which I feel like is going to, at the end of the day, become a better slasher, I don't know. I don't think Strangers Chapter 2 is going to have a whole lot to offer. They're talking, the way that a lot of people are talking about it is, the director had said that the first part was going to be this big thing. Was supposed to be like essentially just a retread of what you had already gotten to, establish the strangers again. But I don't even feel like that was necessary. I don't feel like doing an entire trilogy to explain who the strangers are, is necessary. And I don't know. I'm just not loving a lot of the things I'm seeing in that second trailer. Not really seeing great performances from a lot of the actors and people involved. I like Madeline Pesh. I think I'll give her some credit. I think she's a good actress, but I just don't know if I'm loving a lot of the storylines or things being set up in this new movie. But again, I don't want to go into it with total negative thoughts. I feel like you can't do worse than The Strangers Chapter 1. That was pretty atrocious in my opinion. I don't think it can get worse than that. So I feel like Chapter 2, I think it will be better. I don't think it's going to be much better though. That's kind of where I'm at with it. If the first one was like a 0 out of 10, I think the next one's going to be like a 1 or a 2. So it's something, right? It's something. But I just feel like this whole trilogy is kind of shooting itself in the foot, man. The strangers, you don't need to explain them. That's the best part. That's what makes them unique. That's what makes them different. They're just people in masks. There's nothing really super iconic about them besides that. What's the big thing from the original movie? It's the fact that when you finally get down to it, you've been waiting for an explanation this entire movie. What do they tell you? Why are you doing this? Because you were home. We felt like it, essentially, is what that means. We just wanted to kill people. That is terrifying. That tells me it can happen to literally anybody. There's nothing else you have to explain. You're ripping away the coolest thing about the strangers by explaining who they are, where they came from, by doing that. So I just feel like this whole trilogy is kind of just a fundamental misunderstanding of what's so great about the strangers in general, which is why I'm a little more pessimistic with it. But hey, if Strangers Chapter 2 ends up being a fucking banger, nothing would make me happy. I hope it's good. I hope it's just better than Chapter 1. There's nowhere to go but up at this point, and I hope they do. Hope they find a way to make it. Just Kit, I'm reading the ad. That's Erica. What's up, Erica? Thank you for the $3. Appreciate you. Saying the words are too small to read on my phone. Picked it because it's cute. It is very cute. And it says, how's it going? Erica, it's going great. Thank you for the support. Thanks for the super chat. We appreciate it. Yes, I think it's cute as fuck though. I'm loving it. That's a fox, right? I feel like that's definitely a fox. I'm just thinking about the "What Does the Fox Say" music video now. That's all I can think about. That's burned into my brain after seeing that a million times in middle school. Let me tell you, that's a song I'll just keep coming back to. But I love it. Thank you, Erica. Thank you for the support. Does mean a ton. It's kind of a slow news week, but I will say we are getting some exciting things happening so far. We have the Running Man trailer dropping tomorrow. Unfortunately, I will not be able to cover it because your boy's going to be busy pretty much all day tomorrow until our 7 o'clock stream over on the gaming channel. But I'm really excited for this one. It's the next feature from director Edgar Wright, who famously did the Cornetto trilogy, which is like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and At World's End with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Great movies. Some of my favorite horror comedies out there. Just a killer triple feature in my opinion. But he's also gone on to make some other really popular movies. I mean, pretty much everything he's done I think is beloved by some neck of the woods or some corner of the world. His latest feature, which I was kind of on the fence about, but I think ended up liking mostly, was Last Night in Soho with Anya Taylor-Joy. Who else is in it? I forgot her name. Thomasin McKenzie is also great in the lead role of that one. Pretty kick-ass film, let me tell you. But I feel like it has a slightly predictable ending. That was kind of my one big critique of it. I kind of had it figured out at a certain point. But it's a vibe and a half, let me tell you. That movie's got some heavy vibes, which I loved. But I'm really excited for this. It's Edgar Wright doing Stephen King. You know, what's that going to look like? I'm excited for it, big time, for sure. I really love his style, and applying that to something like The Running Man, I feel like is going to work big time and is going to be different than the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, which is a bit of a departure, especially in terms of tone from the original story. So I'm really excited for The Running Man. Lots of cardio-based Stephen King movies are coming out this year. We have the Long Walk and we have The Running Man both coming out sometime soon, which is exciting. But I'm pumped for these movies, man. I think honestly I have a lot of faith in both of these projects. I think they're going to be good. So we'll see what they're all about. Hopefully they're banging. Long Walk trailer's already out and it fucking rocks too, by the way. I'm really, really excited for that one. Ty Lee really liked Last Night in Soho. I should have guessed the reveal, but it was handled nicely overall. I don't know if everyone's coming out of that movie guessing the reveal, but I just felt like all I'm going to say is based on the star power, I kind of had I had a hint there. That's what I'll say. But it is a killer movie. I mean, it's got some gorgeous visuals and some like some just really intricate technique. There's one shot where I don't even know how they did it. Like they showed me a video of like how they did it and I still don't get it. I'll be honest, there's some crazy choreography and during this one dance sequence that is just wow, kind of makes the Wednesday dance look like dog shit. I'm just going to be real. not to be too blunt about it, but it's like, "Oh my god, this is fucking crazy impressive." But Last Night in Soho, it's got a lot to love for sure. It's you can't let one bad thing sour the whole bowl, right? Fandom's Full is saying, how do you think they should finish the Final Destination franchise once and for all? Dude, as long as they're making money, they won't. I promise you. Final Destination 7 is going to happen. I'd bet my bottom dollar on it. I know a lot of people are starting to get like, what's going on? Why is Final Destination 7 not getting announced? Give it some time. Give it some time. We had the directors come out and say it just exactly, I feel, what's going on behind the scenes. They put all their best ideas into this movie, into that sixth movie, and they just don't know what to do for 7. Obviously, 7's got to happen because they're leaving money on the table if they don't. But Final Destination, I feel like it's one of the few franchises that could go on forever. Just like Scream and Final Destination, you could make 100 more of those movies, in my opinion, and I don't think the concept would get stale. Final Destination especially, though, because you can really apply any group of people to just a new disaster that happens, and bam, there you go. So I feel like this franchise, you're probably going to get many more Final Destination movies before they finally call it quits, before they're like, okay, we're out of ideas. There's so many more disasters I feel that could be approached in a Final Destination franchise in this series. So I'd love to see it. Would love to see that happen. I think I think overall, though, with some franchises, like eventually you just got to call it quits, you know. But with I don't know, with this series and with Scream, I feel like it could go forever. Have I heard anything about the Bambi horror film? I might be getting a screener for it sometime soon, so I might be seeing it early, which I'm excited for. I don't know too much about it outside of the fact that it's from a new director in this universe. Every other Jagged Edge universe movie has been directed by somebody from like the core of it. This is coming from somebody else, which is I feel like that it makes it an important movie for that reason. You know, is it going to be good? Is it still going to work? You know, I think that's a big question that a lot of us are wondering. Because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like when it comes to stuff like this, when it comes to public domain horror, there's a pretty low bar, you know. But I feel like Jagged Edge Productions is like the cream of the crop, easy. Most of the stuff that they put out, I feel like is top notch when it comes to this specific subgenre. I really loved their last 2 movies, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. So I'm really hoping that Bambi stands up to that. I hope that it's just as good. I hope it bangs. So it was those last 2 were a ton of fun for totally different reasons. I hope that Bambi is kind of something similar. You know, it plays in different genres, just like how Peter Pan and Winnie the Pooh both kind of got different things going on. I hope that Bambi's the same way, you know. Tom Dark is saying, hey, hi, Jake. I thought you weren't going to stream today. I can't stream tonight. I cannot stream at 7 o'clock when we would usually stream. With the Lethal Collective, that is, because I'm going to see Jurassic World Rebirth in a couple of hours. So I'm really, really excited for that and can't wait to put out some sort of review early tomorrow on it. So definitely check that out. If you want some spoiler-free thoughts from old Jake, want to know what this movie's all about before getting into it this weekend, but it's going to be fun. I really think it's going to be good. I think it could be my favorite of the worlds based on some things I've heard about it. And I have a lot of faith. I don't want to get my expectations too high, but I think it's going to be good. Official Hayden TV is saying, hey from Scotland. Hello, Scotland. What's up, Hayden in Scotland? How you doing? Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for talking horror with us. Project Horror 2024 is saying, hey, Jake, saw Megan 2.0 yesterday. I thought it was okay. It wasn't better than the first one. It was just okay. I'm kind of with you. I think I was a little more on the middle with it. I wouldn't outright say it's terrible, you know, but I don't think I loved it the way I'm not coming out of the theater kind of glowing about it like how I was with the first one. Dude, I had no expectations for that first Megan. I really thought it was going to be trash. I was like, dude, this is going to be, we're all going to forget about this movie like a month after it comes out kind of vibe. And then I am like just coming out of the theater like, wow, that was really thoughtful and funny. And well done. Performances were great across the board. And then going into Megan 2.0, it's kind of the movie that I thought the first one would have been. Just overcomplicated, just kind of about the humor and nothing else. There's some moments of greatness in Megan 2.0, but unfortunately it's just not consistent. I feel like the plot gets really convoluted at a certain point in the third act where it just kind of loses me. And it's a movie that's more about the humor than anything else. You know, it's just about delivering on the campy tones of the original, but that's not what made the original, that's not what made it a standout. I feel like anyone can make a campy horror film. Can you add some substance in there? Can you give your viewer something to chew on as well? That's where it gets a little more dicey. That's where it gets a little tougher to incorporate that into your narrative. Does Megan 2.0 do that? I think it's arguable because there's moments of it. There's moments of, oh, that was really thought provoking. There's a turn in the third act that I praised in my review that I really liked. Something happens with the character and it ends up benefiting our characters. That's all I'm going to say. And that wouldn't have happened had he been AI. You know what I mean? And that was that was cool. That was I was like, that was nice. That was really thoughtful, and I liked that quite a bit. But everything else about the movie, I don't know. It's just it's about the humor, more or less. Madison is saying, Jake, I thought I'd give you an update from work. I have logged 12 hours of productivity work today. In the 8 hours that I have worked, you are fucking exhausted. I am so sorry, Madison. It has been it's been pretty chaos for us too this summer. We are we're trying our hardest to make enough money so we can move in together, and we have both been just working very, very hard. So I'm so sorry, my love. I will we have a long weekend this weekend though, which is nice with the holiday here. So we're gonna be able to chill a little bit, which is cool. So when you come over early this weekend, we will vibe. We'll have some fun, have a fire or something, get some time to chill out before things get really crazy next month. Tom Dark also talking about Megan 2.0. Not a fan. Didn't think it was good. Could have went straight to streaming. It's a shame because the concept lends itself well to a franchise. They just went in the wrong direction. I wonder if they'll cancel Soulmate. Soulmate, it sounds like that's already in the can, so I think that's coming out no matter what. But I listen, I understand it's a weird direction. It's a weird for them to just go straight into just action instead of horror at all. I mean, how did the sequel to a Killer Doll movie is a sci-fi action movie? What? That's wild. That's a weird way to take it. I think honestly, I feel like what happened with it. Genuinely, I feel like what ended up happening was they realized that one of the biggest elements to it is not so much the killer doll stuff, but the fact that she's AI. She's the embodiment of a lot of the AI commentary going on here. And they leaned into that just maybe a little, even too much, to the point where they made it a different genre. Like, it's not even the same thing as the original. But I feel like it was that balance of you presented yourself as a killer doll movie, but you have this like secretive AI commentary laced throughout your entire film in the first one. That's what made it kind of something original. That's why I would go so far as to say that I liked it better than the Child's Play 2019 film. That definitely does something similar, but not the same. That's I don't know. To me, Megan is a much stronger film than something like that. But then Megan 2.0 just kind of goes off the rails. It got too convoluted and just went in a weird direction. But I don't know. I just my thing about Megan 2.0, it's a bad direction for the series. But I'll still watch something like that over Imaginary or Night Swim from Blumhouse, honestly, which maybe I'm in the minority there, but man, I definitely had a good enough time with it to give it like a 4 out of 10. I wouldn't go any higher than that though. Like I would 4 out of 10 is I feel like a fair review of that movie. It's convoluted and so over the top. It's a popcorn movie at best, but it has some moments where I'm like, I can appreciate that. Okay. That was thought provoking, but overall it's a weird direction for that series. I don't know. Picky Piggy wishes there was more good shark movies. The bad ones are fun to watch, but I would love more good ones. If you haven't seen Dangerous Animals from this year, I highly recommend it. It is an easy top 10 so far from 2025 horror, in my opinion. And it's just a really different way to do a shark movie. And I really appreciated it. I liked that one quite a bit, if you haven't seen it. Fort Misery Gaming is saying, are you a Jurassic World Rebirth hater like everyone on the internet? I don't want to be. I'm going into this movie with some pretty high expectations actually. So I've spoken with some of my reviewer friends who got to see it early, and they said it was mid. Like, I remember one guy actually, the first thing I asked him, I'm like, how is Jurassic World Rebirth? He's like, it was mid. Biggest thing about it that he liked was that they kind of find ways to incorporate some of the horror elements from the original Jurassic Parks in there again, which is nice. A lot of Jurassic Park 3 stuff in there, which, like, dude, Jurassic Park 3, you're speaking my language when you say shit like that. I love Jurassic Park 3. Criminally underrated, does not get enough love, in my opinion. And then on top of that, criticisms, though, were that they advertised a lot of stuff about this movie that doesn't really end up being super narrative heavy. Like the big dinosaur that's supposed to be like this monster abomination, I guess really isn't in the film that much, which is was a big criticism. And overall, the characters are kind of just typical action adventure stereotypes, just what you'd expect, not a whole lot of depth, just to push the story along, essentially. Which at this point with Jurassic World, whatever, I'm almost kind of expecting that. What I want more or less is I do want a good human story, of course, but I think if I want anything else, biggest thing I'm looking for, I would love to see just some really intense sequences that I feel like the last two movies just didn't really have. There's moments in Fallen Kingdom that I liked, but again, just overall a movie that missed with me, and Dominion even more so. So I think if this movie can get back to its roots in a little bit, tell a effective, simple story, I'm really going to enjoy it quite a bit. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. You Can Do This is asking how I get screeners for movies. Really, it's just you got to get in contact with a lot of, like, there's entire people whose job is to make sure that reviewers see movies early, and if you just get in contact with the right people, send a few emails, you'll be able to do it. It really does help if you have a platform to post reviews to. I mean, it doesn't have to be 35,000 subscribers. If you have 100 subscribers, you could get screeners for things. But biggest thing is that if you ask to be in attendance for a early screener, put out some kind of review. Like, just do it. Even if you're like, I don't feel like it. No, do it. Like, make sure to, because that's what their job is to make sure that early reviews get out for movies, and they get paid to do this so that you can more people go out and see the movie, essentially, right? That's the whole goal of it. So you can get that, you can make it happen, but just make sure you put out a review. And I don't let that sway my review either. I got an early screener for Megan 2.0. I was really grateful for that, but I'm not giving it a more positive review just because I got to see it early. I gave you my very honest thoughts on it. I always do that. I swear by it. It's always my honest opinion on movies. I'm not going to let just the fact that Universal was really kind to me sway my opinion on that. I'm always going to give you an honest take. And I was very brutally honest when it came to Megan 2.0. And I don't know. I just didn't love that movie, which was a shame. And again, that was another one that I wanted to like, and I just didn't. Jurassic World Rebirth, though, I have a little more faith in. It's got a great director, a great cast. I honestly, I do think that we're in for something good here. I feel like the internet's wrong on this one, but again, I haven't even seen it yet, so what do I know? But just based on everything I know about it, I'm like, that sounds like a good Jurassic Park movie. It sounds like a simpler story, which isn't anything too crazy. That's what I'm looking for. Dominion got way too convoluted, way too big, wasn't even really about dinosaurs anymore. They kind of showed up at the end, I guess, but Dominion was just a far cry from the greatness of this franchise that precedes it. And I feel like something like Rebirth is getting the franchise back on track. So I think I'm going to love it. I honestly think I'm going to love it. I hope I do, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe with how low the box office is, they will shift back to regular horror, since the original made like 3 times on its opening. Are you talking about Megan? Yeah, because I honestly don't know if with the low box office performance of Megan 2.0, I don't even know if that's killed the franchise. I'm going to be real. I think there's enough love for Megan that they might still make more. And Gerard Johnstone said something really interesting that I agree with, man. He's got a really good point. He said that he's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they made like 5 more Megans, I think is what, to paraphrase him a little bit. And I kind of agree, because there's going to be more to talk about. AI is only going to become a more complicated issue as time goes on. And it's one of those things we got to just kind of live with it. Unfortunately, we have to find ways to keep creating human jobs. I think that's very important right now. Not to get too on my soapbox or anything here, but AI it's one of those things that I feel like we're unfortunately going to have to embrace in a way that hopefully doesn't take away, jobs from creatives. But I hope we find a way to utilize it for things that we actually could find uses for. Like we don't need AI to make art for us. We don't need AI to make shorts and videos and YouTube channels. No, that's ridiculous. AI should be used for things like shit we don't want to do that needs to be done. There's a plenty of jobs that we could teach AI to do that would make life better, and that should be the goal. I think ultimately, when it comes to technology, like revolutionary technology like this, is to make life easier for human beings. But so oftentimes we don't have that as a focal point, and that doesn't make any sense to me, which is why AI being used for art is like the dumbest thing. That it pisses me off, because it's like, that's not bettering life, that's taking away one of the best things about life from human beings. and we're making it harder to create things now for people, and we're having, it's just the world is very backwards right now, unfortunately, when it comes to a lot of this new tech, and we need to get things back on track. I mean, there's statistics that are saying that we are going to have more AI content on this platform on YouTube in 2026 than human videos. That's upset. We should all be freaking the fuck out. Like, we should all be like, something is wrong here, YouTube. Someone's got to call up YouTube CEO and say, hey, y'all got to start banning AI content. That's got to happen very soon, dude. Or else this is not going to be about broadcasting yourself anymore. It's just going to be about content farming and putting out a bunch of shit that nobody wants to watch. And even though I'm saying that, there's still a lot of AI videos that get a ton of views, and it doesn't make any fucking sense to me, man. It's very frustrating. Kind of pisses me off. I see the AI videos that have like millions of views. They're atrocious. I mean, they're like genuinely horrible, inhuman, stiff, and like, I don't know, man. It perplexes me. I don't understand it. I think it's dead internet theory come to life. I think it's genuinely robots watching robots, and I don't know even how else to explain it. Because there's no way someone's watching some of those AI videos and saying this is quality. There's no way. There's no way majority of people are favoring that over human beings actually putting out something. It's insane to me. But I have done everything in my power to block that out of my own personal algorithm with YouTube, and I hope that you do the same. I really do. And also, I don't be discouraged by views, because again, there's a lot of bots on this platform that are just watching content all day long, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. Sorry to get into my conspiracy theories. Apologies. But fuck AI and fuck people who use it to make art, because, man, that is heavily taking jobs away from people like myself, and that fucking sucks. That threatens my own my own career. So my own livelihood. Got to take a stance on that shit. Could you help me get a hold of someone that would get screeners? Dude, it's honest to God, it's not even it's not even that hard. And I was like totally in the dark about it too. But if you get biggest thing that I would recommend if you're someone who's trying to get screeners, you're trying to do early reviews, get an IMDb Pro account, and you'll be able to hit up like a ton of people from companies who will be able to send you to screeners in your area. An even easier way to do it, if you don't want to spend any money, go to gofobo.com or advancedscreeners.com, and you'll be able to just get yourself on a list. It's limited seating, like you got to get it in advance. You know what I mean? I wouldn't expect to get a Jurassic World Rebirth ticket at this point. But you could probably find stuff for, some upcoming movies and TV shows and shit. Like stuff that's coming out this fall, I bet you could get on the list for at this point. But like that Jurassic World screening, for instance, like I've had that like taken care of for like over a month now. Like I inquired about that like a long time, like a bit ago. So if you're gonna get yourself a screener, I would easiest way is to go to those websites. But again, if you want to build a relationship with the people working for these companies, I would highly recommend getting an IMDb Pro account, and then just starting to get some. Figure out some, get some emails, talk to some people, make it happen. I mean, that's really, really the best advice I can give you is just make it happen. No one's gonna hand you something. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to this industry is you have to work for it. You gotta send off emails. You gotta make your voice heard. Shot by Shot is hanging out with us saying, "What's up, Jake? I just woke up. It is 4:43 right now. It sure is 4:44, 4:43, whatever." We're chatting about some horror. I'm probably going to get off here pretty soon because old Jake's got to get going. But I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for talking a little horror with us, man. Manny's Matic Media is saying AI is killing our ability to wonder how they did that. That's sad. And this is also very true. I can't remember which university, but there's this big study that just came out, maybe out of Stanford, that's saying that AI is literally killing our ability to use critical thought. Like it's a laziness of the mind is what ChatGPT is. It's a way of just being able to type in, "Hey, Google, what does that mean?" And we don't. But by doing that, we're not thinking about what that actually means. I really encourage you as a human being that the next time you're unaware of something, don't look it up. I'm dead serious about this. Don't take a second to just think about it. Take a second to just actually think, how did that happen? How did this thing come about? And then look it up. And then, get the information. It's something I've been doing when it comes to videos now. It's like I'm actually like just thinking like, how did this happen? Like I'm just using my know-how and I feel like it's actually strengthening my mind. But I feel like the internet is actually making us dumber. Even though we have all the information ever at our fingertips, it is quite literally making us dumber because we're not using our brains anymore, man. Sorry about the conspiracy theory Jake is coming out here. I'm so sorry. But like, dude, it's a major problem. AI is slowly killing people, man. A hill I'm going to die on. Don't fucking use it. Don't support it. It's bad for the environment too. There's a million reasons why AI is just genuinely fucking terrible. So just don't support it, man. Just don't do it. Use your own brain to figure shit out. And then if you got to confirm it online, do that too. There's ways to do that without AI, I guess is my point. But, it's one of those things where I'm like, it would be naive to think that it's not going to become a big part of humanity at some point, but we have to keep it in check. We have to keep it in check, and we have to think. We have to keep thinking. We have to keep using our brains. We can't let AI just do that for us. We cannot value convenience over substance, I think, is the biggest thing. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'll shut the fuck up. David Primero, thank you for the $5. Sorry, I'm on my soapbox today. I don't know what it is. Do you think Jurassic World isn't a banger now because Chris Pratt is no longer the lead? David, I'm holding my tongue so bad right now. Or lack of star power. I think the first Jurassic World was best. Do I want to put this hot take out there? I don't know. I just have no love for Chris Pratt. I'm so sorry. I don't like him. I don't think he's a good actor, which is probably I think it's a hot take because I'll tell you what, dude, when I saw Parks and Rec for the first time, I'm like, Chris Pratt is fucking hilarious. I love Chris Pratt. When I saw him on Parks and Rec, I'm like, Andy Dwyer is making this fucking show for me. I love him. I hope he becomes the biggest movie star ever. And I ate those words because I don't like him. I think he's the worst part of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think he's the worst part of the new Jurassic World movies. I've yet to see a movie that I've liked him in. I'm so dead serious, and I hate to even say that because a lot of people love Chris Pratt. I just don't think he's a good actor. He does the same thing in every movie now when he's not being comedic, and I don't know. He's great as Andy Dwyer. He is fucking amazing in that role. But man, outside of that, I have yet to be impressed by a Chris Pratt performance. But I respect your opinion, David. I'm not trying to shit on you, but that is my friends have not heard the end of it when it comes to Chris Pratt. I'm like, he ruined the Jurassic World movies. Like that's how much of a crispy rat hater I am. But I don't think this one lacks star power though. We got Scarlett Johansson in the lead, man. Oh, dude. I mean, that and there's someone else, and I actually forgot. So maybe it does lack star power because I can't remember this person. But there was another person who I was like, oh, that's a huge name. That's cool as fuck. Mahershala Ali. I couldn't think of his name. Rupert Friend is also in this movie. He's a big actor. He was in what's that movie? Companion earlier this year. Rupert Friend's great. I will say, I mean, it's not, the full cast list of the last couple of movies, but oh man, no, I think Scarlett Johansson's majorly going to carry big time. We got Jonathan Bailey's in something else that I've seen him. What else is he in? Oh yeah, he was in Wicked. Right. Okay. Yeah. I forgot about that. But there's some good, I don't know. There's some good cast. I don't think it's going to suck. Honestly, I'm so sorry. I like major respect if you're a Chris Pratt fan, but I genuinely think that's one of the biggest things I'm excited for with Rebirth is that it's not going to have him, which if you disagree, all due respect. I know a lot of people love Chris Pratt. That's probably my biggest hot take maybe of all time. I'm going to be so real. Shot by shot. I know. I'm so sorry. You looked up to Chris Pratt. I'm so sorry. I just don't like him. I don't know what it is. I have that weird take about a lot of very big actors where I'm just like, I'm watching this guy and I've yet to really like him. So I don't know what it is, but David, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. I have some faith. I have some faith in this movie that I think I'm going to like the cast maybe even more than the last 3 movies. But again, maybe I'm talking about a movie I haven't seen yet. So what the fuck do I know? I'll give you a little more of an in-depth and educated take tomorrow morning. I'll give you that much. Tell you my thoughts. We got some new folks joining us. We're going to say hi to those folks. And then, unfortunately, I do got to get moving. Boba Fett saying 100% agreed. I imagine you're talking about the AI rant I just went on. I appreciate that. Just fuck that stuff. I'm a pro artist account here. Hybrid Gamer is saying, Jake, I need to know how you feel about my favorite movie, Maxine. That's your favorite movie? Rock on, dude. Why do you think it's not as well loved as the other entries of the X trilogy? Maxine is a film that somewhat relies on a twist, and I don't feel like it delivers in that department, but I do love it though. I'll tell you what, I've actually, the first time I saw it, I felt it was lesser than the other two, but the more I've come around to it, I think it's right up there with right up there with them. Sorry. Maxine's great. The whole X trilogy is fantastic, but I will say I do think it is my least favorite, but not by much. I'd still give it a very strong 8.5, 9 out of 10. That's kind of where I'm at with it. But I just don't know if I love the twist. But the thing I will say about it, why I'm very forgiving of the twist, is that it's clearly going for Giallo. It's clearly going for a Giallo twist. I don't know if you guys have seen a ton of other Giallo movies, but the twists are typically pretty obvious. And that's okay. That's actually a good adaptation of Giallo. It's whoever the most obvious person is, but that's not the point. You know, that's not why we're following this story. Giallo is more about the journey rather than the destination. I think that is why some people either love it or hate it. Another very polarizing subgenre, I feel, of horror. And it's more about the vibes. It's more about the journey. It's more about the bright red blood, the cinematography, the crazy outlandish characters that you get throughout the mix. Deep Red, I feel like, is such a perfect example of that. You have all these like zany character moments and over the top kills, crazy score. And Maxine is totally hitting on those same vibes. It's going for something very similar. And in those regards, I feel like it works really well. And I think that's why it stands out from Ty West's entire catalog. It feels like something totally different than what you'd even expect with purpose. You know, I think that's there was a reason for doing it too, for going for that, which is totally different from anything else that he's done. Ty West movies are typically like these slow burns with like a big explosive ending, and both Pearl and Maxine kind of feel like they're just totally different from that, which is cool. It's a departure from his typical style. And I really do like both of them, Hybrid Gamer, and I'm glad you dig it so much too. Maxine didn't get a ton of love when it first dropped. I think that's upsetting. I think that actually kind of sucks because it deserves a little more. Deserves a little more power. Deserves a little more something behind it because it was good. I did like it quite a bit. Raggedy Man 78, thank you so much for becoming a Ghostface member. I appreciate that. Becoming a member is one of the best ways to support this page. So again, thank you for your support, my friend. Means a ton. Thanks for hanging out with us for as long as you have. One more chat here, and I think old Jake's got to get going. Well, two more. Neems is saying, Jake, you fucking legend. Thank you, Neems. We love you. Thanks for being here. Come visit South Africa. I will try. I will do everything I can to. But thanks for being here, my friend. So much love. So much love. Jonathan Bailey has a clarinet solo on the soundtrack. He also got to play the orchestra on the soundtrack. Not sure how many songs, though. I thought Bailey was the best part of Rebirth. Have fun. I'm excited. Oh, that's really cool that he got to have a part in the ultimate, like the score of the film and stuff too. That's really fucking sick. That sounds very involved, very passionate, you know, that always bodes well for a film. I feel like that's a really good note to end the stream on too. So again, Jurassic World Rebirth coming tomorrow morning. Is it a horror movie? Yes, it is. The Jurassic Park movies are horror adjacent at the very least. I promise. Big scary dinosaurs chasing after you and you know, biting you into pieces. Come on now, that's horror. We're covering it on the page. I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World fan. We love this franchise so much. And I'm rooting for this new one. I hope it's good. I will tell you my thoughts very early tomorrow morning. So again, guys, thank you so much for the support on today's stream. Thanks for hanging out with us. Check us out tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time over on GullGotha for a Fall Guys stream. Members are going to be able to play video games with us. It's going to be a ton of fun. Stop on by for that. Go subscribe to the gaming channel. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all. Peace out.